Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Every battle is won before it's ever fought. Think about it.
What's up, guys? The VIP group is exploding with excitement as we've just completely crushed the crypto market again. From showing everybody the history of our trades, we were able to lead a breadcrumb trail successfully, waving everybody down, away from the Peach Fuzz Mafia, away from the over-diversified guys that are just going to highlight the ones that they finally hit, into our group, where we had a very select and concentrated niche of projects. Out of them, they have been absolutely destroying the market. Right now, every content creator from here to Timbuktu is talking about MoonWell. We got MoonWell in front of our group way before anybody else was even chatting about it, way back here. Then we start formulating a buying plan for it on September 16th. Why is that date so crucial? That's exactly when the FOMC data comes in. This is one of our trading tools. This is how we break it down. It's how we got in on Caspa at the low, which will cover the recent funk in price going on with Caspa because it's connected to the broader market dynamics, including these rumors in the FUD regarding USDT. Somebody put together, Trish, inside of Discord, a lot of insight about the USDT and the Binance FUD and rumors, etc. So we want to pay attention to what's going on there. So we started theorizing to buy this and then eventually started squeezing the trigger, showcasing everybody how to use some basic technical analysis, very similar to RSI with trend lines, to get this at 3 cents. We had loads of guys coming to our group that were Caspa maxis and loads of guys that were over diversified. For the Caspa maxis, one guy, for example, he was a double shark. So he loaded up at 5 cents on Caspa, spent $100,000. He's got 2 sharks. He's like, I got $50,000. I know you understand the market better than me. Point me in the direction. He loaded up that $50,000 on Well, and as this breakout continues to the upside, and there's still more to go, if you're late entry on this, we got everybody in down here and here, adding on, just kept posting about it. As long as it's good, we'll keep adding to it. There's still some upside to go here, 15 to 20 cents. By then, this will be 50-50 position for that guy. So he spent half as much, and now he's got a 50-50 bag of Caspa and Spectral. We were the guys who originally said, do not diversify, wait. And just recently, over the past 90 days, we started to diversify. Why now? What changed? The FOMC. And in fact, this USDT news is all related to it. As everybody in VIP knows, we've been expecting downside on October 30th. For a while now, right, guys? Very interesting about BitSensor. We have some, this is an old post helping everybody break down BitSensor. This is the repeating trendline system. We'll break this down later on. Crypto's completely different than the stock market. Their trend lines actually repeat. This is something out of the X-Files. Once you realize it and start to utilize it on your charts, the insight you get gets insanely accurate. So these are 2 exact clones on Tau, and when you zoom in, this fits like an absolute glove. Anyway, we were able to see these green circles, recognize that it would do the exact thing. When you jump over to Tau right now, guess what? It did exactly what we predicted that it was going to do, making that curve to a T. And when you start to zoom in here, we originally posted this clone on September 19th in VIP. Look at what happened after that. Bounced off the top of the golden pocket, all this support here, and then all of this resistance here. This is the repeating trendline system. Zooming out, it looks like this. It's just a clone of this. We use this on Caspa. We use this on everything. So interesting about BitSensor. The elections are going to be huge, and they're undoubtedly going to affect the results of crypto. Let's zoom into what's going on right now, which is this USDT action. So in VIP, we study not just the bonds. For those of you guys who have been living in the Twilight Zone or following the Peach Fuzz Mafia, if you turn on your television to financial TV or you watch any stock YouTuber who's worth half his weight in mustard, they'll talk about the FOMC, the rate cuts. These are more important than earnings reports. And in crypto, a world filled with chaos, it's always looking for guidance, looking for structure. Therefore, these FOMC meetings have a massive effect on the crypto charts, as we can see looking at just Caspa alone. FOMC meeting. You see what's happening? You're getting tons of structure based around this monetary policy. And this is, of course, Satoshi's secret. Another reason why it's so important to have a VIP is because we can't do every single lesson, every single video. So for those of you who don't know what Satoshi's secret is, you might be able to figure it out by the end of this video. It's got something to do with the design of Bitcoin and how it absorbs money out of the global liquidity cycle. Honing in on this is part of our trade secret. That's why our group is always trading around FOMC meetings. They're very important, not just for Caspa, but for every crypto. Like MoonWell, massive rip to the upside. So what's going on right now is we've been anticipating pullback for the past 30 days. And this is the exact same question, TW, everybody's been asking me over the past 2 weeks. And a lot of it has to do with their market cap and size from here on out. It's getting, because MoonWell just recently made this leg up, much more closer to Spectral, which is about to break out. You remember the symmetrical triangle trend line right here? So this flipped around, see, it's resistance, resistance, resistance. It flips into support. That's the most dominant trend line. That's that X-Files repeating trend line. And when we clone this and zoom in, you can see it all over the chart. And you can even adjust this Fibonacci tool in a lot of different settings. But we have it matched out to, as you can see, this peak right here, bonk. This is where we're stopping right now. And this is key resistance, because once we cross this line, not only are we breaking into 12, but we're also crossing that angled resistance, just to show you how important these angled resistance are. Looking at the Bitcoin chart, same thing, these repeating trend lines using the y-axis, which is right here. Look at that. So just off that point back to here, we found support, and now we've got it again, and we're on the top. Caspa works really well with this. This is how we got the Caspa shorts in. So the entire internet, all the Caspa family, they were going long. Our group was like, nope, we are going short. We actually shorted KRC20. And for everybody who's wondering why the price of Caspa's tanking, and meanwhile we're minting meme coins on the side, that's why. These KRC20 meme coin teams are pirates of the dark water. They are not Caspa investors. They don't care about the project. They're just turning it into cash on the spot. From Shay with Nacho all the way down. These guys want a payout and they're getting one. This is why Caspa is overextended to the downside right now, actually wicking out of another one of these repeating trend lines. But back to this situation I was just telling you about, using the x-axis repeating trend line on Caspa, which originated way back here. See this? Just keeps repeating over and over again. It's like all over the place. Same trend line. Right? Using this last time, the last downtrend, everybody was panicking. Oh no, Caspa's doomed. We're going to 7 cents. Boo! We bought at 11.5 and then we loaded up on leverage at 12.5. Let's not get sidetracked, but just using this x-axis, you can see it pull down. Staying on course here. We got a lot to talk about. Absolutely well as a hold for the bull run. This is DeFi. So you're not banking on some fancy technology. You're also not getting that X factor. Now, I've done a deep study into the other DeFi lending projects like Aave, was a big hit. Last one, that got like a 6 million. But on average, last cycle, they did about a 2 billion, which is giving you a 10x from here, plus X factor, plus the M2. And a lot of this information, for everybody who's trying to tell you, I know what the bull market price is, you don't. Because the FOMC is dictating this as we go. On September 18th, when that old guy came out, looking at all of these Caspa shorts right off of that trend line we were just showing you, when that old guy Powell came out and he said, oh, we're going to cut rates by 50, which was juicy. This guy, whenever you see this guy on TV, pay attention to what he's saying. There's a lot of stuff that we got to break down, particularly right now. It's what? Jobs. Because the stronger the jobs economy is, or the weaker it is, the more the Fed has to cut rates. This is just to stimulate the economy. This is economy 101. We're dipping too far into Satoshi's secret here, so let's backtrack. But it's just important to always stay on what these guys are doing. And we cover that into the VIP group, because what you do is you incorporate this into your trading. The first step is load up on layer ones. Why? Dude, because that guy could have went out there on September 18th and destroyed everybody's hope for having AI or DeFi matter to squat. He could have went out there and destroyed the bull market. This is how he does it. We're only going to cut by 25 points, or how about not at all, and we're not going to cut. Actually, we're planning on hiking. You want to know why? Inflation's out of control and the jobs are fine. They need to balance the economy. And right now, there's a lot of positive jobs data, which is going to be potentially bearish. This entire downslope right here on the total 3, everybody was breaking out. Everything was fine. What was this all about? Why did the market sell off so hard from April to here? And this is all going to tie into USTD. This is all part of the point that we're about to make. And then it connects even deeper into gem hunting. This was all sold off because that old guy, Powell, had delayed. He delayed rate cuts. And you've probably heard news articles or seen them on your screen since you're in crypto. The FOMC delays rate cuts. This is what economists make of the whole deal. Because he delayed the rate cuts, he's throwing this entire crypto bull market into a funk. It'll happen later by at least 60 days than people were thinking. This whole downside is just because the rate cuts got delayed. People didn't know what the Fed was going to do. He could have went up and wrecked it. So until the rate cuts started, the altcoin market was in dismay. Completely. The investment bankers and the central banks work hand in hand. What do I mean by the investment bankers? BlackRock, Jane Street. For everybody who's worried about Caspa, just remember, BlackRock and Jane Street own Marathon Digital. This is the only other proof of work that they're mining. All of this talk about stablecoins getting audited is ultimately good for Caspa, because Caspa is going to be their go-to stablecoin platform, as they've already done test runs on Solana, but it couldn't handle the volume. We know Caspa can. It's the most advanced computer technology. So what they're saying in this article here is the Tether CEO says there is no probe, because as of right now, it's just a rumor. They haven't actually launched an investigation. But I was actually holding Tether when it crashed previously. It crashed down to like 80 cents for like a week. Scared everybody. So there's always some issues with that. This is not this gentleman's opinion.
Exciting now.
This is actually a fact. You're only as good as your last set of trades. We loaded everybody up on the best projects possible from the Bank of Japan carry trade on down, and avoided all of the ones that are duds. And that's getting back to the next point. So the thing about this USDT issue is Now you're starting to talk regulation. Central banks, investment banking class, they're always working hand in hand. And we've seen this time and time again. On the big picture, we saw it originally step up massively. March of 2020. This is when they canceled the entire bull market. That's right here, by the way. Let's get a marking arrow. March of 2020, right here. So how is that teaming up with these central banks? That's when the central banks just started to cut the rates. This is Satoshi's secret. So for those of you just joining on, this is where all the money from the world comes from, particularly risk on assets. So as in 2020, after lockdowns, they cut rates. As that liquidity entered into the market a year later, these are the one-year treasuries, everything started rocketing, not just Bitcoin and crypto. Tesla, GameStop, they all peaked at the exact same time. And the whole market ended. The bull run ended. Tesla came down. GameStop all starts crashing right here. Why? This is when they start raising the rates. You see this? Starting in December and then February, March, now they're getting back up to the local swing high. Now they're inviting money back into the bond market, getting it out of risk on. What we're emphasizing here is the team up. So that's the central banks at work, getting the investment bankers out of risk on assets and into high yield bonds. They do it by increasing the yield on the bond. That's what that old guy's talking about. How much is he going to pay the central bankers, the investment bankers, Jane Street, BlackRock? How much is he going to pay them to control inflation, to get that money off the street? And when they want to stimulate the economy, they stop paying them and it all gets rocketing. And when it doesn't work in their favor and they need extra help, now they start with the regulation. And this is just one example. The next example that we can see is back in right here. May 11th, 2023. This is when we originally purchased Caspa, right before it. We shorted AVAX right here. This is an FOMC meeting. Guess what the old guy did? He raised the rates. What does that do? That invites the investment banking class into the bond market. Of course, they're only giving them 25 points more, but it's so much deeper than that because these two guys, this old guy and his team of married men, Jane Street and BlackRock, they are playing poker against us and they're playing teams. And when they give the signal, get your money out of risk on assets, we'll give you an extra 25 points, they take it. They are just signaling each other here. What do we see happen? Some downside, and then all of a sudden, Jane Street actually dumps all of their legacy cryptos, their AVAX, things along this line. They dump all their Robinhood and or Webull holdings. It was a massive bloodbath in the market, and we were short, knowing right here, the rest of social media was like, yes, the FOMC raised rates by only 25 points. This is bullish. This is altcoin season. That is so financially uneducated. It is ridiculous.
I pity the fool.
I pity the fool who would think that that was bullish to see the FOMC raise rates and that happen. So we're shorting. And then right when this bottom comes in, look what happened to Caspa the whole time. Showing a massive connection to insiders. And later we realized Marathon Digital's mining Caspa. So back here, obviously they were loading the bag. So we scooped Caspa up just like with MoonWell, right around the FOMC meeting, because that's when the investment banking class is going to make their moves. That's when we can see a connection to this bond market. Therefore, and hence, in the future, a year from now, in the fall of 2025, when the bull market is on in full spectrum, these projects will be getting more than their fair share. This is massively important, and even more so is how they alter their dynamics based on the jobs data. So there's been a lot of jobs coming through showing, yeah, jobs are on the rise. This is actually bad for us. We want jobs to be going down because that will force the Fed to cut rates faster and harder. It'll be 25. It was maybe close to a 50-50 before the jobs data came out a couple weeks ago, Beebs. As soon as they released that new jobs data, there's like 200,000 more jobs or something. As soon as that came out, it was like, boom, there's a 10% chance it'll be a 50 now. So they're cutting by 25. There's lagging indicators as well, but we'll get into that in VIP. It's way above the shoulder, mustardy, and you really want to read it because you need to take time to soak it in. It's better that I don't explain it verbally. So there's always going to be a connection to the central banks and the investment banking class. And when their bond market regulation doesn't work, that's when they start pulling out regulatory policy like this. Or, you know what was happening during the May? See that date right there, May 11th, 2023? So they raised rates. Guess what else they did? They cut off all of the funding for COVID-19. This is to like the stock market. The big players were getting enormous checks from COVID. You guys probably heard about that. They canceled all of that simultaneously. And this, you could have known about this months in advance and had anybody done their research like we do on this channel because we have a written system. So we're going to be checking over these things exactly. To think that we can vet a crypto inside of our head, off the top of our head, is ridiculous. People can't even open a fast food restaurant off the top of their head. You need to have a written system to make sure you slice the onions, the cash is in the till, and all the temperatures are correct. Crypto, way more complicated, way more niches. And the teams who are also playing poker against us, they're the ones who are going to try to pull the wool over our eyes faster than anybody else. And that just happened, unfortunately, to the Caspa community, except for us. We're actually the OGs of the Caspa community. We knew the teams are about to hoodwink everybody and start dumping their meme coins. Short entry, right on the money. Of course, it has dipped a little bit below where we thought, so we have to adjust that price model, but we'll get into that. So yeah, FOMC trading. We finally diversified, and as I showed you with the example, the guy that has 2 sharks, he bought 2 sharks at 5 cents, spent 100 grand, put $50,000 into one more pick. He's like, show me the way, Jesse. I'm like, this is the one. We get in MoonWell, and he's now, for less money, if that gets up to 20 cents, as we're projecting, he's got a 50-50 bag now. So he diversified with the FOMC, which is the correct way to do it. And there's still another wave of projects, real world assets, GameFi, ZK rollups. That's what is going to be on the down right now. That will pick up later. This took me so many hours, grueling, not fun, above the shoulder study like you would want to do an Adderall, right? 10 cups of coffee, ramen noodles, studying in a dorm room, like above the shoulder stuff to put these trading plans together. People are like, oh, dude, you're always talking bad about the Peach Fuzz Mafia or these guys that over diversify. Like some other guy that's in the Caspa community got on MoonWell. I highly doubt he got a better price entry than we did, or that he knew about it before we did. He does track Coinbase, so therefore, yeah, he could have figured it out, but I just really don't think that they're using such a grueling method to find the gems that we're doing. It takes a lot of work. It's not fun. So remember that before you sign up to VIP. It's the stuff we go through, the managed learning systems and the standard operating procedure, very grueling stuff. Just in the fundamental basis, how to gem hunt. We got 7 reports done. 4 of them are from AI. One of them's a no pick. We thought it was going to be good until we used the report. So it made it through multiple rounds of pre-vetting, and we're about to pull out a list right now that have already pre-vetted for MoonWell copycats. And this is where we get into the entire next step. Anyway, with these reports, you put them side by side and you immediately know way more about the artificial intelligence sector of crypto. Spectral, ready to break out. This is going to start running very soon. And it's almost kind of similar, almost a DeFi type of AI project. I'll give you a quick peek into the Caspa chart because I know everybody's worrying about it, what's going on, and then we'll do more detail after this gem hunt. We got to remember that there was a gamma squeeze on Caspa. So this chart has been massively manipulated. Now, the other example of a gamma squeeze is on Bitcoin. As BlackRock and these big players are getting ready to do the Bitcoin ETF, simultaneously, all of a sudden, Coinbase, even there's so much regulatory scrutiny, they're finally allowed to do futures on Bitcoin.
Can we see the paperwork on those?
Of course, this paperwork is going to lead back to pulling favors. You know that BlackRock's behind that. And the reason that they did that is to engineer a gamma squeeze. So with the gamma squeeze, you're now allowed to do futures on Bitcoin. Every 24 hours, the market makers have to settle that transaction. So when it's bullish, this leads to more buying every 24 hours. You do a 10x on Bitcoin, you don't actually own 10 times your Bitcoin, but every 24 hours, they rebalance you. It's the exact opposite of a short squeeze. Knowing that the Bitcoin ETF is going down, everybody's buying Bitcoin, and now they're buying Bitcoin futures. And of course, it causes this massive rocket ship. Why did they do it? Because they seed invested it down here. So they plant their seed investment on the Bitcoin, and now they need to protect their behind. They know how volatile crypto is, and they're protecting themselves.
I pity the fool.
They're protecting themselves from the volatility of crypto by doing a gamma squeeze. Knowing what we know about Caspa, with the FOMC run up right here, the rest of the crypto market was in a bloodbath. Remember, we just showed on the total 3, Jane and Jump Street, they were selling their majority holdings. It was bad after the FOMC rate hike. Marathon Digital starts mining it around here. And if they're mining it here, you can bet your bottom dollar that they were thinking about it this entire time. This massive run up here in April, the original spike, probably has something to do with the fact that on Marathon Digital's desk, and that's going to include BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, and Jane Street. For anybody who's been looking at a lot of VCs, you already know these guys are massively connected in crypto. They own tons of what? Stablecoins. They're the ones that provide the liquidity in these exchanges. People are always saying in the Caspa community, and it drives me nuts, once we get the Coinbase listing, Coinbase will have to buy a load of Caspa. No, Coinbase deals the business to Jane Street. Jane Street buys the Caspa, and they provide the liquidity, and Coinbase just charges them a fee. Occasionally, the Coinbase type entities will own a fraction of the liquidity. But you can just see that with the market cap of the stock. It would be way bigger if they actually had that liquidity up there. Think about it. So these guys, every time they own an altcoin, they own a matching stablecoin because they're offering liquidity. Therefore, they definitely want to get out of USDT on Ethereum, which is the leading stablecoin. And they kind of have almost been experimenting with Rust. So it's Ethereum and Tron. Solana's on Rust, similar to the Caspa 10 BPS upgrade. That was up to 60 billion a few months ago, before they had a lot of crashes, before they had a lot of issues. Of course, we're still bullish on Caspa. Keeping in mind, looking at any other project in the top 50, They've all seen enormous downside, more than cut in half. From Tau, these projects have all seen massive downside. This went from 60 to 20, right? 50 to 20 easily. So they're more than cut in half, all of them. I mean, the downside that we're seeing on Caspa is very much more akin to what we're seeing on Ethereum, ratio-wise, going from 4 to 2,000. So Caspa hasn't been waning to the downside that much. Back to the point about the gamma squeeze, knowing that these guys, the BlackRocks, the Jane Street, they all most likely got invested down here around when Marathon Digital started mining. All of a sudden, Binance, they're offering Caspa futures. Doesn't that seem suspect? How could Binance be offering Caspa futures, but not Caspa spot trading? It's completely a funk. And this is to protect their seed investment, to protect the warehouses of miners that they have, to protect their plans to shift the stablecoins off of Ethereum, which isn't a good business model, and on to Caspa. So the price model is still saying the same, looking at ratio. Crypto's all-time highs, looking at projects like Bitcoin, reached 70,000 at its all-time high during the last cycle. That's about 1.25 trillion. These are the peaks of all of the altcoins, which happen afterwards. And it's somewhere between 10 on the high end percent to 5. And then on your low end, you're talking 2%. So as Bitcoin rolls up to $3 trillion, we can just see on market cap of Bitcoin's at 3 trillion. If we get 2% of that, which is the low end, which is what Matic or Litecoin got, Bitcoin's at 150,000. That's going to be 60,000, which will be under Dogecoin, but over Matic. So let's use Dogecoin as a comparison. This will just help us calculate it equally. The two have nothing to do. It's just for quick calculations. This will give us that 60. $335. You see how we get that calculation? Now, here's the factor. A lot of this is coming down to the FOMC. How long they're going to prolong the bull market, how hard they're going to cut rates, how much cash is going to kick in. Right now, they're already planning on having that longer distribution phase. You know, from the 3 phases of the bull run inside macroeconomics, this is super important, is how long they hold the rates down. And this is going to be the massive factor. For one, the Caspa team needs more time to develop and build. Ultimately, we really want to see smart contracts launched this cycle before the bull run is over. That will be undoubtedly the most bullish scenario for Caspa. So as the FOMC meeting rolls out, and we brought up this document previously, it shows their plans on cutting rates and holding rates down. So they're planning right now on the last meeting to bring them down lower than before and to hold them there for a longer period of time. This means during the distribution phase, forget all about that jazz of it's 500 days after the halving. We've already disproven that by looking at Tesla, GameStop, Lemonade, which was a popular stock. Those all rocketed at the exact same time that crypto did, seeing peaks and downsides. So the distribution phase, this is the run up February 20th, that's when GameStop, Tesla, Bitcoin all reached their peak, 60,000. And then after, you get the distribution phase. So this market's gearing up towards right now a longer distribution phase. And depending on what the FOMC does, will sculpt and shape how large the peak for Kaspa can be. More importantly, why is Kaspa having so much downside? Recently, all of the altcoins were getting sold off because everybody was having fear in the market because of the delayed rate cuts, except for Kaspa. Kaspa never felt the fear for whatever reason. Kaspa was going up the entire time. Remember when everyone who owned Kaspa was a genius right around this point? It was like completely destroying the market. Everything was riggedy wrecked. It was bad. And that was all because of FOMC data, like 100%. Everybody was scared out of their mind, thinking there was not going to be a distribution phase. But now as the FOMC has released its new updated data, we got to adjust that into our trading plans. This is exactly why we went directly for AI and DeFi, was based on the FOMC data. Now that there's going to be a prolonged distribution run, those projects are the go-to. In a more frightening event where there's going to be a blow off top, let's say the FOMC comes out and decides they're going to destroy DeFi and AI at the next meeting. They're going to say, oh, we messed up. Let's put those 50 points back on, and we're actually going to start hiking rates again in the summer, right? They're just going to completely destroy the market, which they're not going to do. But in that scenario, Kaspa is going to beef up way more. It's a layer one. It's a strong project. It's more correlated with the run-up phase. This is why you invest in layer ones first and then build your portfolio with the timeline diversification. All the pieces of the puzzle putting together. And of course, Kaspa still setting up for a beautiful distribution phase with the gigawatt stablecoin coming out. This whole Tether thing can actually play into our advantage as Gigawatt gets released. That could be huge. Is that right? Well, that's relieving to hear that Jonathan Saplinski is working on Crescendo with Mike Sutton. Jump into the Discord and ask one of the guys there. They're more KRC20 specialists than me. Because of its negative impact, I didn't get into the KRC20. I try to keep a very streamlined, minimal amount of projects in my personal portfolio. Originally just maximizing on Kaspa. I actually had some Zetrix at one point earlier because it was a layer one, and just recently diversifying into these projects as the FOMC changed their tune. And because they're having so much gains, in the scenario that WELL reaches 20 cents and Spectral hits 25, instead of having 100% Kaspa, my portfolio will be 40% Kaspa. And I haven't spent more money. I spent 25 grand on Kaspa, and I spent about 25 grand on MoonWell and Spectral. And those two, if they continue to the upside, will dominate the Kaspa size. So time diversification, super key. The KII has been very generous with information, and they're about to release part of the Gigawatt white paper. Our VIP will have instant access to that. And then we'll get ready to release videos, switching out of live content and then into the regular, just 5-10 minute videos to get the information out there about the Gigawatt stablecoin. This is a great question, MoonWell. This is a great question. It's a buy. It's not going to slow down. Even with all of our information, even with the USDT FUD, the bond auction, that's coming up on Monday and Tuesday, this is going to undoubtedly pull the total 3 down. Here's the thing. If we look at, so this is all of the projects. You're talking 10,000 projects, goofy meme coins you never even heard of. The only filter we're going to put here is 10 million market cap and up, getting rid of the ultra micro cap. And we're going to do a volume of at least 500K or above, because some of these things will just do $10,000 in daily volume to get their meme coin up there. We're just filtering those out. Anything with under 500K, forget about it. Forget about it. That's not enough volume to attract the investment banker class. And you never want to get more than 1% of the daily volume. For all you heavy hitters out there with like more than 10 grand, you definitely want to be doing $1 million in volume plus. So we run a search on the past 30 days. It's been about 45 days since the FOMC, and there's only 120, 150 projects that are even profitable over the last 30 days. Guess what? MoonWell, DEAI, Spectral, top 100. Everything else, when we get to page 2, look at this. We're in the red zone now. We're at 9% profit on page 2, and now right around there, right around the 150 coins. There's only 150 coins that are even green. So this is a very niche time. The projects that are running, okay, this is running because the total value locked right now is like 650 million, and that's increasing every day. The more people buy, you can buy your MoonWell and then just stake it and get a 9% APY. So this is just constantly going up. This needs to hit $500 million before it will even slow down. So there's still another double up in the tank. Still another double up. So if you want to add to your position, go for it. Adding to a winner is a classic standard operating procedure. And this, I thought we were going to get a breakout in the middle of it, using the exact same trend line from that symmetrical triangle that we had right here, this purple one. This is a massive resistance, and once we get out of it, the rise to 15 will be much easier, and then price discovery, new all-time highs. Part of the reason why both Spectral and MoonWell have been having added success, aside from their Coinbase listing, is that they're traded on Aerodrome, which is more of a DEX, so it's more sloppy. You don't get the exact precision entry, but it just keeps pushing the price up. You see how that works? Because the DEX is just going to fill you, and it's going to keep rocketing. So there's something to be said about bullish factors from trading things on a DEX. Of course, once if Spectral can ever get on Coinbase, which I believe it will be a future Coinbase listing, it's going to absolutely rocket. Yeah, we should do a Caspa breakdown and a bullish one in a short video. Absolutely. I just barely got this studio set up to do live stream, and it's been super fun. So good point with the hash rate of Caspa still. So I have some contacts inside this building who speak on CNBC. These guys go to the World Economic Forum. It's 2 guys. There's the one guy who's on TV. He's the front man. And then there's another guy who owns exchanges overseas. They're launching multiple real world asset projects right now. These guys were the electrical engineers that built the first Bitcoin ASICs. Like, these guys are immense crypto ballers. And they definitely wanted to get in my ear and hear what the retail community is thinking and doing. So while we were reviewing all the 24-point reports that we have, and we have one of them for Aether, they were telling me that it's overly VC'd, and so it might not do as super well as we originally thought. That's their opinion. But it's important to study and know Aether in depth because it's the leading DEPIN project. It has more hash power than Flux, Chlor AI, Render all put together. Computational power is something that's going to start stepping up and going big in the actual bull market. That's another thing. When we're talking about the timing of crypto right now, we're looking at some computational power projects inside of VIP right now, aside from Aether, that are at discount price, more micro cap, more niche ones, because there's going to be such a high demand for processing power. You can see the leading stocks across the stock market: Nvidia, Google, Facebook, Tesla. They all own loads of those A100 industrial strength GPUs. And because they have high computational power, their stocks are extremely high valued. This stuff's hard to get. So yeah, there's a massive up case for Aether. Although one of the weaknesses is there's so much VC money tied up in it. In order to get their hands on all that computational power, there's a lot of hands in the pot. So it's, you know, every project has their balances on the trilemma. And it's important to have these 24-point checklists so we can go over every detail and realize when the teams are hoodwinking us. Like, back to gem hunting. And this is a huge part of gem hunting. B&B. This is one of the reasons why MoonWell and Spectral both have been rocketing, because B&B is getting sued Binance. They're having a massive problem. Something that we've already noted inside our VIP is any project running on B&B as their primary chain, like that one we had on the cover, what is it, like AIT, artificial intelligence? Those are automatically a no-go. Because B&B is under such scrutiny right now, you don't want anything to do with it. Yeah, at these prices, as Aether continues to come down, 150 market cap, that's extremely low. And when somebody was asking the question earlier, comparing Spectral to MoonWell to 01 Labs, their market cap has a massive factor in that, as Spectral's at least triple DEAI, at least double. So when these were at the same market cap, it was Spectral that was the best value, and MoonWell's at least double Spectral. But Spectral has the X factor. So let's talk about Alphium, because this is a project that some people were pumping up, but when you actually do a deep dive in it, it comes up as a total dud. Its real world use case is faked by the team. It's basically a meme coin of technology, something that you want to avoid. They say, oh, well, we've got all these dApps. We actually have a liquidity pool. We've actually got these NFT trading platforms. But when you look closer at them, the total value locked is like less than $100. The total sales every month on the NFT platform, less than $100. The coding language that they use, this is why every detail, well, a lot of times when you're doing it, it seems monotonous and boring. Step number 3, go into the GitHub page using AI, because we don't know how to do code. We want to trade all this high technology, cutting edge stuff, but we're plumbers, we're painters, we work in a restaurant, right? We're a real estate agent. We don't know about code. We use AI to look into the GitHub page and tell us, yeah, this is what these guys are working on. This is the coding language that they use. They use their own custom coding language. So no developers can come over from Solana and start building here, or Ethereum. So they're completely cut off from the rest of the world. This is not a good pick. So when the real world use case starts hitting, this isn't going to see upside. It's a speculatory magnet. What's his name? Sepral picked this out way back at like $2. And I was like, no, God, no. Matrix Fire. This is a great example of Why combing through every single detail is important? Remember the BOJ carry trade? This project is actually based out of Japan. So right as soon as we realized why the downside was happening at that FOMC meeting, connecting it to Asia, we knew immediately, boom, I think it's step 12, find the global connection. And then you put together the team and where the product is being launched in the world. No, step 15, the global focus. This is right in Japan. So we knew immediately it would get massively oversold. We scooped this up 50 cents and over, and then we added on at 70. So when we get winners like MoonWell, inside VIP, you'll see we'll be like, buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it. We keep adding on because it's still good. So that's what we were doing, because the real good trades are few and far between. I mean, we were waiting, leverage trading and putting around a bit a while to get this set up. And now we got it. Awesome. Still trading on it. And then there'll be the next wave coming up. FOMC meetings are super key, and there's one about to happen, so now's a great time to join VIP. Look at how much this paid. If you just got in on the add-on, it's almost a triple up. From the add-on, you could have gotten in at the way low, 45, and you're like moonshotting. Imagine this, dude. You take $1,000, swing trade it here, and then roll it into MoonWell, right? A multiplier. So your 4x times 4x. I don't even know how many x's you have, but it would be a lot. That's like what we try to put together. That would be the sickest combo. If anybody in VIP did that, let me know. And that's one of our tactics, is to multiply trades too. When you're going to do swing trades. People have been asking me, I want to buy Caspa. How much time do we have? It's until the 10 BPS launch. And because of this downside, using our repeating trendline system, yeah, we have the last time we wicked above this y-axis was here. See these lines? Repeating. They all started from back here. This was the first variation of the y-axis support. Our old school videos, we were waiting for this to catch here. It did. We started loading the bag on Caspa. This actually becomes resistance, the same exact trend line. That's that repeating trend line system. So we've wicked below it, which is alarming. We wicked above it though, so it's also in balance. The key is we have to get over this gold line. This is the gravitational field. This is how we, in the last downside, we were able to get all these leverage trades here at 12.25. So low, they survived the BOJ carry trade. Following this downtrend, seeing like how bad can this get? On December 1st, we're at 10 cents. So that's a lot more downside, and we're still at 10 cents, which is the Binance future support. I think we're going to wick back up here pretty soon. Now, here's the other thing. We have to cross this golden line before there will be any considerable upside. Bringing it all the way down to 10 cents, now we're starting to talk about January 20th. We're getting closer to the 10 BPS launch, or at least news of it. Right? So come the new year, now they're like, okay, we're getting ready to do the 10 BPS launch, and it's going to happen because we got to get over this golden line before we really start having upside. And from this swing low recently, all we're doing is giving more time and getting closer to the 10 BPS. And then once we finally get that, then we'll be back up and we'll have a very strong run back up to this resistance where we'll be looking to break out again. I've looked into Turkey, which is a major supporter of Caspa. Turkey had a massive amount of liquidity into AVAX as well. So by checking their central bank systems, seeing how their monetary policy is going, may have some obscure effect. No. Ultimately, it is not. as long as it's not affecting the coder's ability to get everything up and running, which I don't think that it is. Sui's got a 5 billion market cap, right? I mean, it's got a 5 billion market cap. So this would fall way more in lines because it's smart contract. This is very much layer 2-ish, which means it will run similarly to Matic. So this is basically like the up and coming Matic. Here's one of the other issues that can take away from upside with Sui. All of the ZK roll-up technology. This is a new layer 2. This can also help absorb strength away from Sui. I haven't done enough of a deep dive to give you an answer, but I can tell you those off the top of my head. It's very much similar to Matic, and it has competition with the ZK. Beebs, your question about Sui. Yeah, I was going to, Cubic is, yeah, also no good. And you can tell right away, like people ask me about Cubic, even people inside VIP, and guys, it's use the 24-point checklist system. I know this is not fun stuff to do, but what I like to do some exercise and listen to lo-fi music, right? Just kind of trance-like stuff. Get off the bike, take a shower, get your coffee, get your paperwork ready. Your mind is a muscle, and you have to exercise it every day. Now, depending how long you've been out of the school and education system, your mind might already be mush. And there are conspiracy theories saying that TikTok is made to distract Americans and make them dumber. Absolutely. Plays into effect with our ability to study crypto. Try to time yourself. Don't say, I'm going to do 4 hours of study. Do 10 minutes of good, hardcore, detailed reading. That's what the 24-point report is about. It's a system. We have videos explaining how to use it, and it also comes with 84 questions. You copy paste, put in AI. This is how I found all of these gems. Searching artificial intelligence and also the base network for MoonWell. And then the coup d'etat, what a lot of creators do this first, you guys know who I'm talking about, is step number 22. Check the popularity of any project. This means go on Twitter. See how many watch lists it's inside of. See how many people are talking about it, how many followers they have, etc. It's best to save that for last, because then you'll have an unbiased opinion about these projects, and then you're kind of cross-verifying it with the rest of the internet, and then you can jump into the Discord, ask people in VIP, and then message me on this app. We can draft how to sell your portfolio using FOMC data. This is the hardest part, is selling. Buying is pretty easy, and we get a lot more practice with buying. Selling is when the heat is on. We think that a few cents is a big swing on Caspa, and we're starting to sweat it now. Just wait. Wait until you're a millionaire, and then the next week you're $100,000 It's going to be hectic. This is all coming. It's going to happen. Get ready for it now. And the more you know and have practiced trading with the FOMCs inside our VIP group, the better off you're going to be. Super friendly price. You're buying me 20 chicken wings while we go over paperwork together. It's a great value, huge value. Yeah, so Caspa with this downside, ultimately my translation of it, buying itself more time until the 10 BPS upgrade. Nothing's changed. And remember, we're only seeing the downside of Ethereum here. The rest of the cryptos got way more than cut in half. And we've still got our BlackRock and our Jane Street, all of these power hitters. They've all owning a slice of Caspa, and there's a reason. And we can, of course, connect this to the USDT. So let's wrap this up with a watch list that I put together of projects that are like MoonWell. They're loaning, DeFi, and this is their connection. They're on base. Now, the reason these have all been tanking, they've been doing disastrously. And you want to know why? It's because the SEC's been suing BNB. This has been completely bad news. This is when they opened the lawsuit right here. And this is the thing, as we know, Gary Gensler is completely making it up. Although the courts allowed most of the SEC's claim to survive, they expressed serious skepticism. So Gary Gensler is just making it up. This is the official SEC paperwork, June 5th. Massive downside. And this is all part of what's been causing the altcoin falling wedge to repeat. What was the last time? It was the FOMC. You can see this giant broadening wedge. So here was the market distribution phase. Yeah, everybody's making money. And then boom, monster sell off. And this downside, it's all part of the global liquidity cycle, Satoshi's secret. It all connects directly back up to this. The bonds, central banks working with investment banks. And when they need help, that's when they go for regulation. So we've always had the theory, even way back here while we were still inside this falling wedge, that the total 3 chart would hit its local swing around. It would be in a downward motion, basically on Halloween, right at the apex of this. And right now we can see with the bond auction coming up next week, it's the big one. They're selling the 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, and now they're doing this scare tactics with regulation on Tether. We are getting that result. We're getting this down. And of course, this is going to allow the investment banking group to come in and load their bags up again. And then they're going to let everything rock and roll. Once we cross this, which is 200 billion away, that's a long ways, but there's going to be an enormous run on altcoins. And this includes MoonWell. MoonWell is DeFi, therefore it's like an ETF of crypto. So timing a pullback, virtually impossible. This one, Spectral, also about to break out. Huge wins. So these are all tanking. Or the majority of them are, and the reason is most of them have connections to Binance. The ones that aren't doing that bad have nothing to do with Binance. So Radiant Capital, this is basically the exact same thing of MoonWell. They're on base and everything, right? Base. Right? You can borrow money here, and it's completely on a dumpster fire. It's listed on Binance. It's backed by Binance. So this is another potential catalyst that can skyrocket. The SEC getting stomped out and Binance winning their investigation. This can have huge upside. So math, this is one that's not, well, this is Binance right there. So it's been seen, it's listed on Coinbase, which is weird, but also has that Binance connection. LimeWire. I'll show you guys. Oh, have you guys heard about Ink? Somebody in VIP brought this up inside the Discord. Ink's a layer 2 for optimism that they're going to be launching on Kraken. So my spin on this is the exact same theory we were just looking at. Kraken realizes that everything that's running on BNB is in the dumpster fire because of the SEC, and they're stepping up to make the kill. So when you guys are out there gem hunting, when you're combing through stuff, make sure that you count regulation in part of your measurement. Don't pick any projects on BNB. Like we have that one on the cover, like GTA or something, one of the AI picks. Forget about it. It's done. It's on the BNB chain. So unless there's some massive catalyst like Binance wins in court, SEC is faking it. So the total 3 is it's the entire market cap of every project except for Bitcoin and Ethereum. See, it's the crypto total market cap except Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's what it says right there. So this is your altcoin chart. This is really good to chart for market sentiment as a whole. As we can see, the run-up phase, and this also will show you how your altcoins are going to play out when the bull market starts. This is something that we do one-on-one with everybody inside of VIP. You send me your portfolio with percentages. You can do dollar amounts if you want. Just don't do it on Discord. Do it on the Patreon app. And then we'll link you in with the FOMC bonds just to make sure you've got it all down. And with these bond auctions that we're using, when this becomes time to sell, can be extremely helpful. Look at this post. Okay? This was the last bond auction. So we knew about this a week in advance. This is the total 3 chart. It was for August 26th, and then we get the sell-off. We know there's another auction right here, and this was when it was totally breaking out, ripping to the upside. And we knew there's a bond auction. And so now there's the other bond auction, which we already knew about. Look at that chart. Let me get a zoom in here. And then look at what actually happened. 1, 2, 3. See that? 1, 2, 3. When it comes time to sell, you want to know how we're doing this. Because we've been predicting these, like, see this? We're predicting this way in advance. See that? This is going to help you maximize your profit. Buying's easy. Anybody can buy a winner. Selling it, the whole nother ball game. And now you got to factor in the emotional stress. It'll affect your decision-making ability, without a doubt. So what you're seeing here is the run-up phase right when the bonds unlock. The FOMC cuts rates to 0 on February 20th. Boom. That's February 20th, 2021. And this doesn't just happen because people think, well, it's the Bitcoin halving, bro. Dude, that's what's rocketing it. Okay? It's not. We're going to disprove that right now. This is February 10th. That's Tesla peaking at 10 days away from Bitcoin. That's the exact same date. Bitcoin, Tesla. Look at Tesla, right? Massive run. GameStop, I was in on GameStop. See that? This is an add-on. That's January 13th. We can look at the GameStop chart, does the exact same thing. Rockets right at that exact moment. So we add on right here, January 13th, boom. Originally picked it up here, joined Roaring Kitty's group. You guys probably saw the movie Dumb Money. They only talk about the short position there. Roaring Kitty will explain to you in detail how the bond market works and how you can time the market cycles like this, which is what Satoshi wove into Bitcoin. This is what we do in our VIP and on this channel. That's how come we crush everybody. We're taking it to the next level. More fundamental structure with these FOMC tradings. And not every FOMC meeting is good. Some of them are bad. You got to know how to read the numbers. And then this is the important part. The distribution will last until the Fed hikes rates. And they start right here, December 20th. They're up probably 25 basis points right there. Looking at the Bitcoin chart, that's the peak. November 10th. See that? November, they just start hiking it right here. Starts ramping up. November. Same thing on the total 3. That's the peak. So the party's going to be rocking until the FOMC steps up and then they stop it. And then once they stop it, they'll start adding regulation to really beat the crap out of it. Like this. It was still rocking here. And they're like, we need to get all the money out of crypto back into the bonds. So they started saying, oh, we're going to now do regulation, which is what we're seeing hints of right now. They're all working together to cheat retail. This is a zero-sum game. This money isn't coming out of trees. People are losing the money that you're up right now. Therefore, we're going to just let these guys keep signaling each other, the central banks and the investment banking class, because we know all their hand signals. We know exactly what their game plan is. And once they start raising rates after they bring the rates down, that'll be the end of it. And right then, you got to sell everything. But they won't do that until 2026 or so. I'm not a personal fan of selling anything because then you also have to pay taxes on it and you lose a larger percentage. If you don't have any capital on hand, you could. MoonWell is pretty bullish, although it would have been better to do closer to the FOMC. And here's the other thing. Powell can go up to that podium on November 7th, regardless of the election results, and tank this market. He can. He's got all the power, all the tools at his disposal to do so. So keep that in mind. All right, guys. So looking forward with the gem hunts, always incorporate FOMC data and be very mindful of Binance. Because Binance is really, they're taking a hit. All their projects are bad. And this FOMC meeting is going to be very crucial. And we'll be breaking it down and having trades around it inside VIP. Maybe it will lead to a swing low. Maybe it will lead to a rocket. It's all in the Fed's hands. We can't anticipate what they're going to say based on the numbers, lagging indicators like wage growth and stuff. But depending on what they say, the market will react in a certain way. So congratulations to everybody in VIP who got their hands on these winning trading plans. These were just exceptional. We started scheming to buy base, and we had this on our watch list months beforehand, but we started scheming to buy it 48 hours before the FOMC. Then we finally get ready to start really putting the hammer down here at 30 cents. We get this swing back and bounce off like 28, 29 for like a few days. And then we kept adding on at 45, 50, kept building the position. Spectral scooped up a bunch right around the $5 mark at the BOJ carry trade. And then there was another opportunity after, and been adding to that trade as we go using these angled trend lines. People inside, we're saying up here, they're like, we're going to get a pullback to the $10 mark using the repeating trend line system. So we actually have loads of technical analysis that's top notch inside all of these trading plans. And more importantly, we incorporated all the macroeconomics and fundamentals. So super good value. You're just buying me a couple baskets of chicken wings. It's 20 chicken wings. And you get to check out all this stuff, which is hours of work and proven to be the best skill so you can continue on your gem hunting. Trish, great post inside Discord about USTD and Binance. Spot on research. Trish is somebody whose mind muscles are working at full concept. She doesn't have TikTok brain, so she understands and digests this stuff through learning and knowledge. One of our premier students and members contributing to the to the effort because it's a group effort too inside Discord. We've got loads of intelligent people like Trish who are chipping in on stuff. I'm only one guy. I spend all my time reading white papers, combing through charts, reading FOMC documents, looking to put together these trading plans. Took so many hours. You can't even imagine. To put together all these charting systems took so many schools, so many people that I've already paid to show me how to build charting, set trend lines accurately, etc. And it's a privilege to be able to share this knowledge that we've proven to be the most effective on anybody on social media, hands down. So we're still in an ongoing gem hunt right now in real world assets like Parcel, GameFi, which is going to be the final sector, and this AI and DeFi breakout still rocking. And remember, there could be some major news with this whole Binance SEC that flips all these projects that were previously suppressed back into the limelight. But until then, base is where it's at. The base narrative. We'll be getting our hands on the gigawatt stablecoin white paper, at least fractions of it, within a week. The KII has been communicating with our group. One of the CASPA team members joined our VIP because who knows, they appreciated the content and some of the concepts that we were covering. I think they wanted to check out the repeating trendline system, which has been how we've been able to so accurately chart CASPA. Nobody else knew that we were on a downswing except for us. And of course, this is all linked to the FOMC. This whole downside is because of the delayed rate cuts and then in combination, additional regulation. So as that water's starting to clear, we're getting ready to break out. And these USDT things, as of right now, they're only rumors. It hasn't been confirmed yet. So we want to take that with a grain of salt. All right, guys. Thanks for checking this one out. We'll catch you on the next one.